Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to have some Division 16 ranked online gameplay, and we are going to be using Khamzat Chimaev. And we all know how good Khamzat is. You all know exactly what I'm going to do with Khamzat Chimaev. And in the first fight here we're actually coming against Lee the Leech, which was his last opponent, and we saw what happened. I thought I'd start off with this fight just because I think it was the longest out of all the clips I've got, and I did struggle to piece gameplay together because, to be honest with you, whenever I'm playing, as of recently, I'm getting a lot of rage quits, so it's very hard to be making the content. I don't want to just upload videos of opponents just rage quitting constantly, but within this video here, some of the gameplays will feature some rage quits, or I'll just take my opponent down after a round or two and then they just quit on the spot. However, I thought I'd make this a longer video because I know how much you guys want to see Khamzat gameplay, and as you can see I've already taken my opponent down. And with Khamzat you can either look for a submission finish or look to ground and pound. He's obviously extremely good on the ground, he's got a lot of power on the feet, and that's one thing I did notice, is that the easiest way to win a fight online is through grappling. And whenever you pick Khamzat, a lot of people just dashboard, they just quit straight away because they just want nothing to do with it, because they just know how dominant he is. And as you can see, my opponent's worked his way back up to the feet. I'm not too worried about it. I know I'll get him down eventually, but fair play to my opponent, because when we were starting the match, he switched to, I think he just randomized his picks. Obviously he's a good fighter. As you can see, we get the takedown there. And don't sleep on Khamzat's hands, because he is extremely powerful. And that's one thing I did notice whilst using him, is that if I didn't have much success on the ground, whenever we got to the feet, his uppercuts and hooks, I know he has the perk for that, felt really, really powerful. And the best thing about Khamzat is you can use him both at welterweight and middleweight. At welterweight, obviously, he is going to have that reach advantage when it compares to most of the fighters, which is why I like using him at welterweight more so. But he's definitely usable at middleweight as well, and that's something that I'm going to showcase in this video here. As you see, we denied the transition from back seating, and I opted not to go for the rear naked choke, and that's just simply because as soon as you lock in that rear naked choke, if your submission offense is any good, you're pretty much going to get it, and I'd rather not finish the fight like that. I know obviously it's in the game, people are going to use it. I have nothing against people that use it, because I occasionally do use it as well. I just at that time decided not to. However, if you are in that position and you're not like me, you would have fully taken advantage of it and potentially got the submission finishes, because his submissions are very, very good. Especially if your offense is good, you can really catch people. And as you can see, we've got my opponent to the crucifix here, done a good job of getting out of that. And this is the easiest way to win fights, to be honest with you. And this isn't just with Khamzat, it's with any grappler. If you get someone in this position here, drain their stamina, throw elbows to weaken their head health. As you see, stamina's flashed there, and he's just doing the bare minimum to survive. And this is against a good opponent as well, so it's not like I'm just fighting these low ranked guys that have no idea what they're doing on the ground. I'm coming against players that play this game a fair bit. They're division sort of 14 onwards, and we all know that divisions don't really mean much. I mean, you can see that when you go to division 20, you face a lot of division 20 fighters that just need elbow spam or don't play the game properly. They just use exploits to get to division 20. And some of my harder fights have come against people in lower divisions like 15 and 16 who fight super realistically. And as you can see, I catch my opponent there, then I hit him with the front kick. We opt not to waste our energy there, because I knew he was going to block the punches, so I just jumped straight into side control. And that's the thing I've started to take note of more, is that whenever I drop my opponent, instead of just looking for the ground and pound finish now, because I find I waste a lot of stamina doing it, and a lot of people are very good at denying it, I just opt for the safe bet of getting into side control. I know I can control the position fairly easily, and from there I will get the finish rather than the ground and pound. But as you can see, my opponent's doing a good job. Yeah, he's getting taken down, but he's doing the right things. He is taking damage, but not to the extent where it's very alarming right now. He can survive, he can work to get onto his feet. As you can see, he's close to the cage, so I'm conscious of the fact that if he gets full guard, he could then use the cage to get up. But before he even gets to that, we get him into side control here. He manages to get to sprawl, and from here's a dangerous position, as you can see. He tried to get up and we denied it, and that transition's so fast when you're against the cage. Even if you go to deny it sometimes, your opponent will still get it, and he gets up here, so because of our staminas, he managed to get up. I hit him with the straight there, shoot the takedown instantly, and I'm very aggressive with these takedowns, especially against the fence, just because, I don't know if you guys have noticed that when you do shoot a takedown near a fence, as long as you do a turning takedown, it's very, very hard for your opponent to deny it. I find a lot of people have difficulty with it, so that's something that I've implemented into my game moving forwards, is when I shoot these takedowns, especially when I got my opponent hurt, I predominantly do it against the fence. Then you go into that animation where you can turn the takedown. I normally point upwards and I look for that suplex or the double leg that puts you straight into side control. So that's just what I've been doing. It's what I tried to do there, but my opponent done a good job of denying it. And as you can see here, he's sort of trying to bait me in. He's planted, so his strike's going to be quicker. So it's something I've got to be wary of. And as you can see, here we go again for the takedown. Do a good job. He was about to get him onto the ground, and my opponent quits. That is going to be a very popular theme throughout this video, unfortunately. And we're coming up against Nick Diaz in this second gameplay here. Nick, of course, OG in the fight game. Tremendous boxing, phenomenal jiu-jitsu, prone to leg kicks. Got very good stamina as well, so I need to go to the body to try to slow him down. But obviously, Khamzat, I'm here to destroy everybody. I'm here to get him onto the ground and as quick as possible. As you can see, my opponent's doing a good job here right now. His hands are flowing really nicely. He's catching me at the right times, and he's mixing in, as you can see, he mixed in the teep kick there. Good movement to get away from some of those strikes, but I need to get this fight onto the ground, hold on to him, and, you know, I've still got to be careful, because one thing is, when you're coming up against someone that has good jiu-jitsu, like a Nick Diaz, you see, great takedown defense there, you don't want to overcommit. So when you're on the ground throwing ground and pound or trying all these transitions, if your stamina gets too low and he catches you in a submission, it's going to be very, very hard to get out of it. And as you can see, this is where I was talking about his power is so underrated, because I hit Nick with that hook there, and he aged about 10 years. That's how powerful it was. He nearly flew out of the octagon. If the doors weren't shut, he was gone. And then from there, we go straight to the ground through the suplex, and then throwing some ground and pound here. And now I know I've got my opponent hurt in the exact position I want. Half guard's a very dominant position as well, but side control is exactly where I want to be. Once I'm in side control, I'm fully comfortable. All it takes is 1 or 2 denies, and then you get the momentum, and it's going to be very, very hard for your opponent to get out. As you can see, he's doing the right thing. He's building up GA, but posture up here to throw some strikes, and I was seeing if I could advance to side control, but unfortunately I couldn't. It then gets me into full guard here, and I'm conscious that I'm against the fence, and I believe Nick also has rubber guard, like Nate does. And once you're in rubber guard, if you're against someone that knows how to control it, it's very, very hard to get out of. So get into side saddle here, and then my opponent pushing me to side control. And this is going to be a common theme, is you're going to see a lot of me in side control, just looking to chip away at my opponent, because, like I've said many, many times, that is the most dominant position. I think I'll have a video coming out after this on the best way to win fights in UFC 4. And I found a new submission which I really, really like, and I think you guys can benefit a lot from. And yeah, that video will be coming out probably after this one, after I record this one here. You can see letting off some ground and pound. My opponent didn't do a good enough job there of covering up and rage quits. And the amount of rage quits I got throughout using Khamzat is absolutely ridiculous. And not just Khamzat, to be honest with you. If I'm honest, all I get right now is rage quits, rage quits, rage quits, no matter what I'm doing. I could be the closest fight in the world, and my opponent will just rage quit as soon as they lose. And it's extremely inconvenient, especially when you're trying to reach Division 20. At the point of recording this, I have reached Division 20, but it took me a lot longer than needed to, just because of how many rage quits I was getting. And as you can see, we are in the welterweight division here, coming up against Colby, who is definitely the second best welterweight on the planet. I mean, Colby is just absolutely phenomenal. Get the deny here, and I believe we go for the rear naked choke. Yeah, so we get 2 denies in a row, go for the rear naked choke, and then I believe he has the transition to the armbar. But while this is just playing out on the screen here, is that whenever you get your opponent into back sitting, if they're a good player, they're never going to go left or right. They're never going to try to get into their into full guard. What they are going to try to do, however, is going into sprawl. So whenever I go into back sitting, I'm looking to pre-deny the sprawl, and then off of that, I'm looking to work a finish. So we get another finish there, submitting Colby Covington. And as you can tell, whenever you use Khamzat, or me in particular, I'm a big Khamzat fan, I get a very, very high finish rate in terms of fights. Like, normally I'll have a couple fights go to decision here and there from my online ranked games, but there is something special when I use Khamzat. I feel like I'm just more likely to get a finish, and if not a finish, you know, at least a rage quit. As you can see throughout the video, that's just an extremely common theme. And in this gameplay here, we're in the middleweight division, coming up against the middleweight king, Israel Adesanya, and as I'm recording this, it's just after he's beat Robert Whittaker, and it went the distance this time, but Izzy looked masterful. I had it 4 rounds to 1 to Izzy, at most 3 to 2. I know some people are saying Robert Whittaker won, but I genuinely don't understand how. But you know, it's each to their own. Everyone scores a fight differently, and again, this takedown stems off of the fact that Khamzat has so much power, and it's just so. It's like people just think he's only good on the ground, but when you stand with him, he has an outrageous amount of power. So we clipped Izzy, got him to the ground here, and as you can see, just unleashing loads of elbows from side saddle. We deny his first transition attempt, didn't deny that one. Get the deny here, get my opponent into crucifix, and here's where I'm going to look to control. We've got a good amount of time to work with, and I'm just going to look to control my opponent. He does a good job of shaking me off here. Tries to go up, and all the momentum's in my favour right now. We get another deny, and as you can see, the fight's just going incredibly downhill for my opponent, and he rage quits. And coming into this fight, I actually lost some of the footage. So we're coming up against Kevin Holland, so it's middleweight again. I believe we're starting off in round 3, so I lost the rest of this footage, but I thought I'd still include it in the gameplay because it was, you know, it's just more footage. The other footage I have was just constant rage quits, like there has been in the video so far. But I think in this one, my opponent sticks around, I'm not too sure. But as you can see, we're dominating him on the ground again. This is all you're going to see really when you're coming up against Khamzat. And even if you're coming up against someone that's really good on the ground, for instance at welterweight coming up against Burns, Khamzat still has that ability to control the opponents on the ground, even get submission finishes. I did fight against the Gilbert Burns, and it went 3 rounds, it went the full 3 rounds I think, and in the 3rd round I submitted him, but my opponent rage quit. So yeah, overall it was a pretty tedious fight, but it was just me denying transitions and him denying transitions. It wasn't the most exciting, so I didn't include it in the video. All the fights I have included were the best out of the lot I had. I think I went through about 10 to 15 games on separate days using Khamzat, and as you can see, the referee stands us up here. And we haven't got too long to go, about 32 seconds. Duck that kick, hurt my opponent bad, and that front kick always seems to land whenever I'm using Khamzat. And Kevin Holland's another fighter that I think is extremely underrated on the game, especially because he has a good skill set on the ground with the rubber guard. We shoot for a takedown here, was about to get it, and then yeah, the round's over. So coming into, I believe it's now round 4, had an extreme dominant end to that round. I'm not sure what it looked like before that point, but from what I can see from the footage, that was an extremely dominant round. We got the knockdown, and we was doing good work on the ground, and as you can see, pressuring my opponent straight away, throwing the low kick, mixing in the teep kick. He catches me there, one of his own. You've got to be careful with Holland just because he does have a lot of power in his hand, and he also has a lot of speed. As you see, these leg kicks are starting to add up. My opponent's mistake here is that he's backed up towards the fence. When you're fighting a grappler, you don't want to do that because you're just inviting a takedown. I can just clinch, put you in there, shoot a double, and as you can see, I have beautiful head movement there. Shoot the takedown, pick him up and throw him. I was going to walk to the other side and dump him, but I didn't want to drain my stamina too much. Maybe if that was in the first or second round, I would have done that, because that's what he does in real life. And yeah, we gave into crucifix here. Gotta be careful, because Kevin Holland is very crafty on the ground, very good skill set on the ground. Like I said, extremely underrated. Maybe I'll have a video coming out with Kevin Holland soon, but as you can see, these elbows were just too much. Go to throw some ground and pound, and he avoids it. And this is where I've made the decision that I've got to be careful, because look how much stamina I have, which is not good at all. He's gone for the Kimura after my ground and pound attempts that obviously failed, and all that really done was waste my stamina. Fortunately, I managed to get out, but I know that next time, instead of looking for the ground and pound, I'll probably look to go back into side control or work my way to top mount, because I can't afford for that to happen again. And then if it does happen again, it could end the fight, especially when it's been a very dominant performance from what we've seen here. So my opponent gets me to full guard, and again, I believe Kevin Holland does have the rubber guard, so I've got to be careful here. As you can see, he's really waiting, he's trying to camp out and get a transition denial. And yeah, we managed to get back into half guard. And that transition there, whenever you try to take your opponent's back, is the worst transition. It's so easy to deny. We get back into side control here, get that deny there, get into crucifix, and I think, if I'm correct, this is the beginning of the end for my opponent. He doesn't have much stamina, doesn't have much head health, and it's not going to take much longer to get him out of it. So I hope you guys did enjoy this Khamzat Chimaev showcase. I'm sorry there was a lot of rage quits, but like I said, this is the best gameplays that I had, but unfortunately a lot of people just can't stand playing against Khamzat. But yeah, that's the video for today. Please like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed, and if you are new, subscribe for more UFC content, and I'll see you next time.